Thursday morning, it's McCollum on Business. I'm Stephen McCollum, and for the next 30 minutes or so, I'm going to get you updated on what's happening around the business world. And we've got some big changes happening out there in oil prices with some more developments. It's going to be a brutal one here. Of course, don't forget, this is our last week here of our 4-day schedule over the summer. Starting next week, we go to 5 days again here on McCollum on Business and the main event as well. So we're going to enjoy this last one, but also spend our day looking at what's happening and getting you ready for the weekend out there. So thank you for joining us, and we're going to look at the market watch, stocks we're paying attention to, local and national stories that you need to know going into this weekend. And we'll have to see, folks, because it is brutal out there, and get you all that updates. But first, let's look at the market watch. And there you go, folks. I prepped you for it as best as I could out there, because it is brutal, and it's brutal because of oil prices and what's happening in the Middle East as well. We'll talk about that. Oil prices skyrocketing today. Dow Jones right now down 557 points at this moment, and it's not going to get much better throughout the day. It's just a lot of uncertainty entering the markets around energy costs. So that's 572 points down to 51,690 right now. The S&P 500 is down the 80 points to 7423. The NASDAQ, well, it's down big today as well. Right now, it's down 460 points to 25,230 as well. Whew, just one of those days. Russell 2K down 14 points to 2940. Bitcoin, well, down 1,288 today, but still 64,791,000 as of right now as well. And it's just the market. Anything having to do with fuel, unless you're an energy producer like Chevron, ExxonMobil, etc., those are up because, they're going to get more prices here, more income. Everybody else that uses fuel, now they're taking a huge hit today. Like, we're going to look at it here coming up, but I mean, American Airlines stock, so the airlines, cruise lines, etc., man, it's not a good day out there at all. So we'll tell you what oil is doing today, folks. Fill up your car quickly, because whatever it's at now, 419, 420, whatever it's at out there, about to get higher as well, because they love to raise them faster than they lower them out there. Stocks we're paying attention to right now, Tesla is big in the news here today. 11.54% down for them. Well, they reported an earnings miss for their second quarter. Tesla's free cash flow also turned negative. Margins are under pressure. Excuse me, folks, there. So Tesla, big hit here on Tesla. We know, their deliveries are down, etc., but they do other things like batteries and whatnot. Earnings miss for the second quarter is a big deal for this company. And also part of their problem is a lot of people left Tesla and moved over to SpaceX stock out there as well. The bigger problem here is, if you saw that last thing I told you, Tesla's free cash flow turned negative, margins under pressure. Well, because a lot of that having to do with capital expenditure side of things as they continue to develop the robots and all of these things. Capital expenditure is a big story today, including for Alphabet, which is our next stock we're going to look at for this. Yeah, they're down 6.87% right now for them. 6.83 it just changed to, and you see it's changing. They increased its capital expenditures outlook for the year. Yeah, these guys want to build their artificial intelligence capabilities. They now expect to spend between $195 and $205 billion this year in their artificial intelligence side of things and building that up. Previously, they only wanted to spend $190 billion. Investors have long been weary of these companies spending, most of their net worth on capital expenditure size due to AI. Well, they keep up on it, and it's continuing to kind of hurt these stocks on the stock market. 6.59% down for Alphabet here today as well. And then I already told you, American Airlines, well, they came out yesterday. Well, that's our next stock we're going to look at. They cut its full-year earnings outlook, all because of higher fuel costs. And that was yesterday. Then we wake up this morning and oil prices have skyrocketed. So American Airlines down 7.57% here right now. All the airlines are going to be taking it in the shorts today. Like I said, cruise lines, anybody whose big expenditure is on the energy side is not going to be good here today with oil prices doing what they're doing. And I'm purposely not telling you because yeah, that story's our first one coming up here. But before we get to that, other stocks we're going to look at later on: Lockheed Martin, IBM, we're going to look at, and then Eli Lilly in the news as well here today. It has nothing to do with the lawsuit with their competitor, like we saw earlier this week as well. And what's happening with the market today? It's very, very, very simple. Brent crude oil. That's the global benchmark for oil. It rose more than 6% here this morning. Yeah. It's over $100 a barrel early this morning in trading. That's the highest level in 8 weeks. Basically, since the end of May is when it was last up at these levels as well. This is the second straight day of crude oil, of also U.S. crude oil jumping, both of them. Now, U.S. West Texas Intermediate, it's up more than 5% this morning to about $92 per barrel. That's highest level since the beginning of June, around June 10th timeframe. They'll, if you don't know what's happening over there in the Middle East, that these prices are going up. Tehran-backed Houthi rebels, well, they claimed attacks on two Saudi oil tankers, not in the Strait of Hormuz, but in the Red Sea. This is expanding out of the Strait of Hormuz into other transportation areas. This is the first time since the Iran war began, at least that we know of, that ship attacks have spread beyond that small little Strait of Hormuz area that Iran was controlling in that time of the blockade kind of happening. So basically, there's a new front in this conflict as we move forward. The Houthi threat is very unsettling to oil markets because millions of barrels per day pass through the Red Sea area, which is the Bab el Mandeb Strait, is what they call that, to get out to the global markets. It was basically what was feeding the global markets while the Strait of Hormuz was shut down and things to that effect. So if you're getting to the point where that's going to be affected, markets are going to react negatively, and we're seeing that this morning. Well, how much oil and precious cargo goes through the Red Sea portion of the area down there? Well, 12 to 15% of global trade, and worth more than $1 trillion goes through that waterway every year. And like I said, so you got that side of it, but this has been the alternative to the Strait of Hormuz. And the Strait of Hormuz over the last couple of days has gone back to a standstill. Ship crossings there, well, they moved to single digits earlier this week, back from upper teens to single digits again. And now they're starting to attack the other portion where it comes out of as well. Yeah. So now, just from the start of the month, oil prices have risen 35% in this month of July. Yeah. These prices that we're looking at now, they're higher by more than 60% since the start of this year as well, in terms of oil prices. Yeah. So we all know that oil prices go up, gas prices rise. We just told you a few days ago, it was either beginning of this week or end of last week. I think it was the beginning of this week that we had officially gone over $4 per a gallon on gas prices nationally. Well, now the national average price as of this morning, well, it's at $4.09 per gallon. It was at $4.06 yesterday as well, according to AAA. So fill up quickly. It's not going to get any easier going into this weekend if we're going to start having other waterways and other areas over there taking these hits and traffic slowing down from that perspective out there. And that's not only the bad news, right? If you're looking to refinance, if you're looking to buy a house, well, those yields on those 10-year U.S. Treasury notes, those aren't going anywhere, but up either. Now, the 10-year, that's the benchmark for mortgages, auto loans, credit card companies as well. Well, it's up 5 basis points. It's up to 4.707%. That's the highest since January 15th of 2025. Obviously, before President Trump's term started here last year. Now, the 2-year Treasury note, which is closely tracked for the Federal Reserve interest rate policy. It's up more than 4 basis points. It's at 4.343%. Yeah, the 30-year Treasury bond yield, it's higher by more than 4 basis points as well today. That's at 5.188% for that number as well. Don't forget, 1 basis point is about 0.01% there for you as well. So that is even going up in large incremental amounts here this morning. The Treasury yields, so interest rates aren't going to get any better in terms of your consumer goods, credit cards, auto loans. If you're looking to buy a car right now, out there as well. Everything spiking here with all this news in the other side of the country. Now, I'm going to give you some good news here as well. The number of Americans applying for unemployment benefits. Now, this is the week ending July 18th. It declined by 22,000. So it's down to 187,000, according to the Labor Department's report that came out this morning. So that's the fewest number of weekly applications since September 6th, 1969, folks. Decades in the making. It is well below the 215,000 new applications that was forecasted by the people that forecast these things. Weekly filings for unemployment benefits, they're considered a proxy for layoffs. They're actually as close to a real-time indicator of the health of the job market as you can possibly get. And that number is good. Uh, Job security seems to not be a big concern. Well, unless you work for one of these big tech companies like Microsoft layoffs, Google a big layoffs, and the Intel doing some layoffs. Those types of companies are having big layoffs, but overall, not big numbers out there as well. Now, if you want to look at the 4 week moving average of weekly jobless claims, if you go expand it out instead of just weekly, well, a 4 week one adjusts for the volatility that happens from week to week. That even fell. It fell by 7,250. It went to 207,500 for the volatility, or for the 4 week average going down as well. So the total number of Americans filing for unemployment benefits in the previous week, July 11th ending, well, it was down by 2,000 then as well to just under 1.8 million. That's a very healthy figure out there, folks, that you look at with the economy as well. So, hey, we're able to find a little bit of good news for you in these government reporting stories out there. But fill up your car as quickly as you can, top it off because it's not going to be going down here, at least in the little bit of a short future here. Does that mean we're going to start seeing grocery prices increase again and other items as everybody's filling up, and dealing with the high fuel prices out there? Let's move to some company stuff, right? We talked about Alphabet stock price earlier today. Well, over in the EU, they were fined a total of 890 million euros, which is a lot of money. You translate that to American dollars, that's about $1 billion here this morning. Yeah, the European Union says Google was flouting the European Union rules aimed at reining in the power of big tech. Remember, they have all those special rules over there that the tech companies get into trouble with, whereas here in America, we just let them do it. Yeah, so the good news is, I guess, they got this $1 billion fines. It's for multiple reasons. I'll tell you about it in a second. But it looks like Google is going to avoid fresh fines because EU regulators lauded good progress and an ongoing efforts to comply with their landmark legislation that they have over there in Europe. So it looks like fines moving forward are going to be minimized. So the fines, well, they underscore Europe's determination to prevent big tech companies from, you know, kicking rivals out, overtaking smaller rivals, etc. Right, and then also defying U.S. criticism and retaliatory tariff threats are part of this too. President Trump's threatening to raise tariffs because of these rules and fines on American tech companies. So one of the fines was 460 million euros. It was handed out by the European Commission under that Digital Markets Act that European Union has. Yep. They say that Google was favoring its own services in shopping, hotels, transport, and even sports results in search results. Basically, they're saying you go to Google and you type in, Premier League scores. Well, they put a Google site on there as opposed to another competitor site up there. Now, the second fine was 430 million euros, targeted Google's restrictions on its App Store, Google Play, which prevents app developers from steering users free of charge to cheaper offers on those rival app stores or websites. So, Google does have 60 days to comply with the Commission's orders to treat rivals in a fair, non discriminatory manner, and also to allow app developers to steer users away from its App Store. Yeah. Now, Google did criticize the EU findings. That shouldn't shock you. And they say they might actually sue the commission to court to kind of fight these charges. Now, it was the first time Google's been fined under that digital marketing app. First time that's happened. But they have four or five other claims that they've had to pay out with the other side of it there. And several tens of billions of dollars is what Google's paid out to that side as well. So those battles continue there for these tech companies over there in Europe, and the European Union is also in the news today. We know the Department of Justice here in the United States stamped its blessing on the Paramount Skydance to Warner Brothers Discovery deal. Now we know that the local entities, right, the Writers Guild unions are suing to stop it. 12 states' attorneys are suing to stop it. Well, the European Union did actually approve Paramount's bid to take over Warner Brothers Discovery this week. So, clearing another regulatory hurdle for this big merger that, obviously it's going to reshape the entertainment and media landscape as well moving forward. Now, the European Union did put some conditions on it. Here in America, our Department of Justice Antitrust Division just stamped it approved and washed their hands of it. That's where you're getting these states' lawsuits and things. But the European Union said, nope, we're going to put some conditions. So the European Commission, which, if you don't know, is the EU's antitrust enforcer, they said that even with a Paramount Warner combo, enough competitors would exist across markets like film production and streaming in the European Union. But the problem is distributing movies to theaters. The Commission warned of high concentration that could lead to worse rental and distribution terms for cinema operators, movie theaters as well, which then, of course, if they get worse terms, it gets passed along to consumers, and then that would eventually disadvantage consumers as well moving forward. So this was the condition that the commission said they need to do. They said, they actually said that Skydance owned Paramount has actually agreed to end its European Economic Area stake in United International Pictures. Now, that's a long-standing venture between the two major studios as well that was used to distribute films in theaters outside of North America. So that basically what the commission says Paramount's willing to do, well, they must end that partnership within 13 months of closing the acquisition and then not enter any new agreements with Universal for the next 10 years. So they also put a conditions out there that current distribution of Warner films must be shifted to the same pipeline that Paramount is going to use in these European countries moving forward. So it's not like Universal can just keep the same things. They have to value everything that's already been done as well in terms of the distribution side. The European Commission said its approval was conditional on the company's commitments and that it would monitor their implementation. Now, of course, they didn't say how that would be enforced after the deal is closed, and it means major fines is what's going to happen if that doesn't go through. So, governments, entities approving the deal, at least federal government side, right? 12 states' attorneys fighting the merger right now moving forward, along with some entities like the Writers Guild. But the big regulatory hurdles are over. Now you just got to fight the individual lawsuits coming in here in the United States. And let's go to Florida because I find this interesting. Some of these economies, California is one of the largest economies in the world. Well, there's now new data from the Florida Chamber of Commerce, and it came out and said Florida's $1.8 trillion economy, they say it's climbed to number 14 globally. Yeah, in the world. Yeah, the Florida Chamber Foundation came out with this reporting. They said the ranking demonstrates Florida's emphasis on lower taxes, streamlined regulations, then, of course, free enterprise is what they tout down there as well. We know billionaires are moving their companies from California over to Florida for those cost savings. Big companies as well. The chamber announced Florida had climbed to number 14 among the world's largest economies by gross domestic product, is how they rate it. The state's economy, as I told you, was $1.8 trillion. Dollars. It's grown 6.3% over the past year. Folks, it has surpassed Australia and Mexico in terms of its GDP. Florida now ranks behind South Korea at number 13, and they would need about 2% additional growth to surpass South Korea, about 21% more growth to actually overtake Canada as well, which Canada ranks number 10 in the global economies as well. So, tourism, agriculture, and construction, well, they're the foundational industries there in Florida. But what chamber data does show Florida's ranks number one nationally for new business startups and manufacturing job growth. They highlighted growth in aerospace, defense, fintech, healthcare, logistics, and Central Florida's $11.6 billion model and simulation industry that they have there. Now, Florida touts that they say they're responsible for this because they're running the state like a business with low debt prospects, and they say that protects local enterprises from the bigger picture, right? The national economic turmoil and the debt crisis that Washington creates out there. So the chamber reported that Florida has the nation's lowest state debt per capita at less than $1,000 per resident. So if you want to compare that to New York, whose economy is shrinking along with California, but let's stick it with New York. New York carries more than 6,500 in state debt per resident from their side. Interesting enough, as I was looking at standard of living stuff between Florida and the states that are shrinking, like New York, California. Yeah, Bloomberg, actually, I found this from Bloomberg, and they did a big analysis. They found that the combined cost of living in the Miami, Fort Lauderdale, and Palm Beach region, they call that the Gold Coast there of Florida. It's very expensive to live there. Well, they say it's 5% higher to live there than in the actual New York metropolitan area and the surrounding suburbs up there in New York. So interesting development, right? With the money that comes in and built up, expenses, things get more expensive there as you bring people making more money in. Yeah, that Gold Coast area, Miami, Fort Lauderdale, Palm Beach, 5% more expensive than to live in. Already expensive New York as well. So interesting little caveat there on the Florida economy as well. When we come back here on this Thursday, last show of this week, next week, of course, we go back to our 5-day-a-week schedule as we're getting into the fall season. I know it's still summer, but end of August, end of July, kind of get into out here, school start and football starts. So we move to that 5-day schedule. We'll get to one last look of the market watch here for the week. Look at Lockheed Martin, IBM, Eli Lilly, and their specific stocks. A couple local stories for you. And I found an interesting note here on Taco Bell and what's happening to it with this parasite issue they have with the lettuce. Kind of what their stores are doing. Just a quick little blurb at the end, folks. Yeah, come on back. McCollum on business. And we're back here, McCollum on Business. Even though our live programming is off on Friday, tomorrow, last Friday we have off. Well, of course, The Real Matrix will be a new episode tomorrow as well. You want to tune into that noon over on Rumble is where you can find that program on demand at noon tomorrow. Then, of course, on the free podcast system, releases at noon as well for you out there. We break it in. It's an hour-long show. We break it into two parts. For those of you, we had a lot of requests there that people don't sit down and listen to the whole hour. So break it up into the two parts. Listen at your convenience out there. But at noon tomorrow, a new episode up for you as well. And then, of course, the main event and this show, we're live on YouTube. All of our programming, by the way, is on Rumble, including The Real Matrix, rumble.com/user/TME Media. And then, like I said, the videos pop up. It's just the way Rumble categorizes it. Right above that, there's a channel button. Click on that. And there you go, folks. You can look at whatever show you want to watch right there on Rumble as well. And then your favorite podcast systems, Apple, Google, Spotify, iHeart, Podchaser. I'm sure I'm forgetting a couple of them out there. Wherever you listen to your podcast, your audio ones, well, you can search any show name except for this one. This one does not have an audio podcast, but you could search for it. Boom, there it is. Listen to it. Like and subscribe to that as well, including The Real Matrix tomorrow at noon. Everything but The Real Matrix is on YouTube. And, of course, that's where we broadcast live right now here for the main event and McCollum on Business. 7 a.m. for this show. 8 to 10 a.m. there for for the main event there, 8 to 10 a.m. live. If you can't catch us live and join our YouTube chat, well, you can join us on demand as well. Catch the show at your convenience here on the YouTube or on Rumble as well. We put it up right after our show gets done here. We post it up there for you on the YouTube page. Share us with your friends. Like, subscribe. Let's have a little bit of fun out there as well. Join all of our programming except for The Real Matrix and this show on X as well. Just search the show. The Pit Stop is up. New episode came up yesterday where we look ahead to the Indianapolis area racing here this weekend for NASCAR. IndyCar's off this weekend as well. So catch the Pit Stop. It's up on your podcast systems as well as on Rumble and on YouTube here for the week. We're getting pretty close to the playoff starting. The chase, as they call it in NASCAR. We're ramping up for that, and things are about to get exciting as guys are pushing to qualify for the chase as well. With all that being said, let's do our final for the week here. Look at the Market Watch. And it's just a tough day if you caught the beginning of the show. It's not going to get any better out there as well. Brent crude tops $100. Alphabet's down. Tesla's down. And when those go down, even if it's 1 percentage point, they're big numbers, right? From that perspective. But it's all oil prices. It's the festivities over there in the Middle East. Inflation's going to creep back. And I know it's settled down a little bit. It was still there. But inflation's fears are there in this economy. It's going to creep back into it as well. Dow Jones down 575 points right now for it. S&P 500 down the 86. NASDAQ's down 506 points by itself here today, folks, as well. Yeah, the Russell 2K down 15. Bitcoin is down today as well, about 1,000 points, but still hovering in that 65,000 level there. 65,074 for Bitcoin, as it's kind of found a happy place here in the mid 60,000 area here over the last week or so for that. And look, it's just a brutal day out there on the market. I'm not sure how tomorrow will be. Of course, we're off tomorrow here. We'll be back on Monday. But is there a rebound coming? It all just depends on the festivities happening over there in the Middle East. Stocks we're paying attention to right now. We're going to look at defense contractor. Should be doing well this time of year with everything happening over in Iran. Lockheed Martin is what we're going to look at. 11.18% up for them today. They reported better than expected results for their second quarter. They earned $7.95 per share. The expectation was only $7.19 per share. They had revenue of $20.06 billion. The expectation was only $19.34 billion. They also hiked their full-year earnings outlook as well. Why not, right? They make a lot of stuff being used over there in the Iran area. Lockheed Martin, better than expected results, 11.10% up. Then there's IBM. We told you about this stock last week. They did their preliminary reports last week, and the stock tanked on that day. It was down 20 something percent for a legacy stock out there, legacy tech company. They were down huge with just their preliminary report. Well, they're down 0.68% today because they actually came out and reported a profit and revenue for the second quarter. Came in below analysts' expectations. We knew it was coming with their preliminary report, and it dropped, like I said, it was 20 something percent that day. It was absolutely crazy number for a company like IBM. Well, today it's official. Now, last week they posted those preliminary reports that actually sparked the biggest sell off in IBM stock history. So that's the question, right? You're not going to see as big of a drop now because we knew what was already coming. But it is official. IBM down 0.65% right now. And then Eli Lilly. We talked earlier this week. They're getting, they're in a lawsuit there with Novo Nordisk on advertising and deceptive advertising. Well, Eli Lilly's up 0.97% here today, right now as well. They said they will apply for approval for a next generation obesity drug in the first quarter of 2027. They say that there were successful outcomes in two late stage trials for this new obesity drug. In one of the trials, they said adults with obesity and established cardiovascular disease, they say they lost 55.8 pounds, basically an average of 22.6% weight loss on this new drug over that was at 80 weeks of taking that medicine as well. So Eli Lilly, new obesity drug coming our way on the market as well. That those numbers are better than their current GLP ones out on the market there for Eli Lilly. So that's what they're doing with their announcements out there as well. And let's get into the couple local stories that we have. And earlier this month, we told you here on the program, APS was they announced at least that they're going to convert its Chola plant. Geez, excuse me. And they're going to convert that to natural gas by 2029. It's a current coal plant that has been shut down, and they want to convert it. So KJazz gives us this story here this morning as well. And we know, right, switching from coal to natural gas, that'll reduce emissions. We expect that to happen, right? But coal plants require a lot of water and everything in them. Natural gas plants do not. Well, according to KJazz, the utility APS, they expect water use to actually be about the same at this plant moving forward. No savings in water, which natural gas plants, they're touted for using less water than their coal counterparts. If you look at a report from the U.S. Energy Information Administration, on average, natural gas water usage was about 7 times lower than coal plants are. But they say this plant, once converted, is going to stay the same water level. Be nice to do some savings there, right? Well, there's a document submitted to the Arizona Corporation Commission. In that document, APS said it intends to use the same processes for steam generation and cooling. We're going to use the same generation, same system they use there on the plant's coal days, which means that's not part of the conversion. Well, you might go, hey, Steve, you're just being picky on the water. It can't be that much water, can it? Well, they expect the plant to use about 6,600 acre feet. Folks, that's about, if you do the math, 2.2 billion gallons of groundwater a year. Yeah. Back in 2020, that plant alone consumed about 3 billion gallons in 2020 of water. Yeah. So they're not converting that side of it. We're just all watching the water usage, right, with these data centers and how our water bills are going up as homeowners because of it and things to that. Solar plant not saving water is just another thing to pay attention to on these utility sides of things. Now, there's a program out there, and it's federally funded that Arizona does utilize. It's the Efficiency Arizona program, is what it's called. Well, it helps income-eligible households upgrade heat pumps, ovens, dryers, basically any appliance, and you can upgrade older models with new energy-efficient models. Then you get a rebate, you apply, and you get the rebate. This program launched back in 2024, and it's awarded more than $4.7 million in rebates to Arizona households. So basically the result of the this program, 532,928 kilowatt hours of energy savings. Now that's from the Arizona Governor's Office of Resiliency, and they put out a report on that. Arizona is hoping to take advantage of federal rebates to replace gas appliances with those electric models. Well, pay attention. 1 week left to apply, basically. What's happening is, and it shouldn't shock you, we know the Trump administration's been doing this, but they are making changes to a Biden era energy efficiency program, and August 1st, they say is the deadline. It's technically not, but you want to have your thing in by August 1st if you're looking to take advantage of this program. Well, starting in September, the U.S. Department of Energy, they're changing requirements for the program. And obviously, we're telling you this about the changes coming up because the biggest change is that households will no longer be able to use rebates to swap those old gas appliances for new electric ones. That is going away here as well. Another change is they added a new requirement to ensure homes meet insulation and air sealing standards to qualify for rebates on heat pumps. So you get a heat pump, and those are expensive, and you get one of those put in, so you get the better efficiency there. So you're not going to get the rebate on the heat pump unless you put insulation requirements. We might have to upgrade your insulation as well. It's pretty pricey there with those requirements out there. So if you want to take advantage of that program, well, you should apply by August 1st, according to the experts and the people in this program. And the reason why is because nothing's changing until September, but they want to make sure you have enough time to have your rebate processed, and then they can issue the rebate before the program rules change. Because in September, no guarantee you'll get it out there as well. Now, there will be several types of rebates still available after September 1st when the rebates change, or the requirements change, I should say. The Efficiency Arizona, well, that program is set to run through 2031 before the funding kind of goes away on it as well. So I just wanted to make everybody aware of that program in case you are looking to use that or been thinking about it. Change is coming, folks. Get on top of that. Interesting story that I saw here, a little blip that popped up here. And um, Taco Bell specifically, its lettuce was linked to that outbreak of sickle sporiasis. That's that explosive diarrhea disease there as well, and everything. And the FDA has said Taco Bell's lettuce was a cause of it, and they've traced it to Taylor Farms, and they're not sure it's Taylor Farms, even though they are sure. Whole thing. But Taco Bell took the lettuce off of their items immediately once they found out they were kind of the cause of it. They took no lettuce allowed at Taco Bell anymore. What's happened to Taco Bell since then? Well, on July 17th, visits to Taco Bell restaurants nationwide, well, they're down by more than 30% compared to the traffic average each Friday between January 1st and July 6th this year. Now, there's a company called Placer.ai that tracks foot traffic using data from cameras and mobile devices. Yeah, that's right, folks. Big Brother's watching you, even going into Taco Bell. Think about that for a minute. But 30% down, people aren't going there. I know they just got done. They had a little $1 menu item that just ended yesterday with no lettuce on it. So they're trying to get you back into those stores and everything, for the lettuce issues that they have out there. But 30% traffic down for Taco Bell since they've been linked to that lettuce issue out there as well. So give some love to Taco Bell if you're out running around today, and get them back up as well, if you care for that stuff. But 30% down is wow. Hey, folks, appreciate you joining us here today and this week here on McCollum on Business. As I said, our last Friday off is tomorrow. We'll be back on Monday morning, 7 a.m., and we'll start our 5-day-a-week coming up here again after just taking some and relaxing this summer as well on those Fridays. Not really. We were doing work around here. It's just we're not on air. We'll be back Monday. Everybody, stay away from your 401ks today. Don't look at them. Probably tomorrow as well. We'll see. But we'll have all the reporting on what happens over the weekend coming up Monday, 7 a.m. Don't forget, join us live on YouTube, including with the main event coming up next, if you can. If you can't, catch it later on in the day, either on the podcast systems or, of course, on YouTube or Rumble. See you Monday, folks.